Hey y'all, it's the Lady CPA, y'all, with today's What's Your Present Value, y'all. I am going to be intentional this year, y'all, about bringing you more content. So what we're talking about today, y'all, is a sense of self, right? Do you truly have a sense of self, right? Or are there two versions of you? What does that look like, y'all? A lot of times we are trained, y'all, in this world, in society, your job, your business, right, to show up one way, but then maybe you go home and you take off that hat, right? But how tiring is that, y'all? How tiring is it for you to show up in your corporate job or at your place of employment or the company you run, right, with one hat and then have to take that off and be someone else? What you have to realize, today's confident, professional, and accomplished woman, right? Women of purpose, women of leadership, women of destiny. We are who we are 24/7, right? No longer are we walking a role of leadership. It's literally like getting up in the morning and putting your shoes, your clothes on, right? You don't have to put it on. You embody it, y'all. And that's what we're learning in 2026 as professional women. We are embodying who we are, whatever that looks like, y'all. All it has to do is planning, y'all. See, a lot of times we're not aware of how we're not open, right, to new possibilities, right? New accomplishments in this world, new adventures, right? You have to be open. And a lot of times we hold ourselves back because we marginalize ourselves trying to show up in this world the way the world expects you to show up. But what if that's no longer who you are, right? Someone, you could be unhappy about where you are simply because you're not showing up in the totality of who you are, right? Do you know how hard it is to put on a show? It's tiring, y'all, right? To sit in meetings that you don't really want to be a part of, right? To be a part of conversations that no longer interest you, right? You all grow, right? As women, as professionals, we grow. It's okay to outgrow where you started. It's okay to change your vision. When I started the Lady CPA Network, y'all, it's because number one, I was pursuing the CPA exam, certified public accountant, right? And I wanted to create a body of like-minded women who could support each other in that journey. Well, guess what, guys? I'm no longer in that journey. The profession overall is a great profession, but that's no longer who I am. Does that stop you from walking in your purpose? No, you pivot, right? So you're understanding that a true sense of self, y'all, has a lot to do with understanding that you don't have to have two versions of yourself, right? You don't have to show up in the corporate world as one person, right? And then in your day-to-day life as another. And I found for years, y'all, that that's what I was doing, right? I can show up in the professional world and do everything that I need to do. But I am a deeply spiritual person, y'all. So every person, every client that I take on, they're still getting a part of my beliefs. And that's when you realize, guess what? You don't have to wear two hats. Somebody, you're now beginning to understand that everything that you want is fine when you can walk in true authenticity, right? Somebody, you're having a sudden awareness that maybe you're not comfortable in the job that you're in. Maybe you're no longer happy, right? And it's fine. It's fine to say, you know what, where I am in life was great when I needed it to be, but I'm no longer that person. Y'all, it's time to pivot, right? You have to be able to, it's exhausting to work in a profession or work a job that is not speaking, right, to the very essence of who you are. Sometimes, y'all, we have to be able to say, you know what? I am no longer going to fight against where my heart is leading me. Even if you remain in your profession, in your job, you still have to do it in a way that resonates with your heart, y'all, with your soul, with your spirit, right? With who you are and your purpose. And a lot of times as feminine leaders, we were told that we had to lead in a way that our male counterparts lead. But what if that was never your calling, right? What if that was never your purpose? See, what we have to do is be able to find ourselves within our purpose. Find your own leadership from within. How you lead is who you are, right? How you lead shouldn't be a role that you go put on. Okay, well, let me put on my leadership role, right? And now you find yourself overwhelmed, juggling. Why? Because you're wearing too many hats, y'all. You find yourself overwhelmed in life when you're wearing multiple hats, right? If it was never meant, y'all, for you to juggle, you don't have to choose. you can encompass both. And a lot of people feel like you can only pursue one, right? So you work 20, 30 years in a profession, right? And then you find someone who absolutely retires, quits, walk away, and does something completely different. It does not mean that that profession wasn't a good profession. It doesn't mean that that job wasn't a good job. It means that we are people and we grow, y'all. Embrace the change. Yeah. That's what I'm learning, y'all. For many years, right? We allow ourselves to move in a way that is counterproductive to our spiritual growth, right? To our growth as a person, especially in business, right? We take on leadership roles, we take on CFO, CEO, all of these positions, right? But is that truly our passion? Burnout is real, y'all. Right? Burnout is real. And I suffer from burnout, y'all. Like a couple years ago, I said I refuse to sit at my desk and continue to do what it is that I was doing. Not that I don't love my company, not that I don't love the profession, but your purpose and your profession have to align, because you will get to a point where you will be uncomfortable, y'all. Have you ever been uncomfortable? Because you know your spirit is pulling you in another direction, yet you show up to the job every day. You do the job, but it's like, I'm seeing somebody, it's like walking tunnel vision. You do your job every day. You show up, but there is no passion. There is no life behind what you're doing, because you are no longer that person. I'm here to tell you that it's, as a professional, it's okay to wake up one day and say, you know what? That's not who I am anymore. And then allow yourself to be okay with it, y'all. Allow yourself to understand that you change. We all do. I hope we do. If you stay the same, then there's a problem, right? If you're still pushing the same product, the same brand, the same information 5, 10, 15, 20 years, then you're behind the times, y'all. Let's be clear, right? Everything in this world grows and it moves forward. Somebody, you're beginning to understand the restrictions that you place on yourself by staying in a profession, even a relationship, y'all. How many times do we stay in relationships that we have outgrown, but because we are comfortable there, we stay? Same thing with your job, y'all. Same thing with your companies. Whatever it is, you stay out of a almost like feeling guilt, right? It's like, well, I've been doing this for so long, then I'm just not going to move forward, right? Well, I've been doing this for so long, but what if that is not productive to your soul, right? What if that is not productive to your mental and physical health? Do you know how many people, y'all, are suffering mental burnout in professions that they no longer resonate with, right? You no longer resonate, right? With some things that were great to get you where you are. Let me tell you something. My life, y'all, is de-stressed. And you cannot continue to burn yourself out when you're not happy. So whether it's professionally, right, whether it's relationship wise, whatever it is, you have to understand that you bring you to the table, right? And if you're not happy, then you are not bringing any benefit to that job, to that company, definitely not to yourself, right? And when you wake up and you realize that, hey, I'm not happy. This isn't what I want anymore with my life. Everything is fine. You don't have to go into panic mode, y'all. It's called pivot mode, right? You pivot in order to be able to move towards what truly brings you happiness, y'all. A lot of times we have to feel like we have a true sense of self. And if you're showing up every day to a job, you're showing up every day to a relationship, you're showing up every day in society without a true sense of self, you're not really honoring yourself. All you're doing is dividing or fragmenting yourself because you're not truly happy, right? As professionals, we have to understand, y'all, what we do every day is a part of us. And if you are not resonating with what it is that you do, girl, you got to let it go. Right? Somebody, you have to be able to pursue your passion and your purpose. And if you realize that what you're doing every day is no longer resonant of what your soul is calling you to do, then you're living inauthentically. Inauthenticity, y'all, is why people are stressed, because you're showing up every day with a hat on, right? Just like you put on your shoes, your socks, whatever it is to go to that office, all you're doing is suiting up. But is that really who you are, right? Think about it. Is that who you are, or is it time to pivot? Think about it, y'all. Somebody, it's time to plan. Maybe you want to go overseas. Maybe you want to travel, right? Whatever it is that you're doing, if you're in a profession or you're doing something where you are restricted in what it is that you truly desire, it's about you moving towards your purpose, right? And your purpose, maybe it's a sudden awareness that what you've been doing all of these years was never part of your purpose, right? Maybe you've had an awareness that you need to walk away from people, places, and things, right, that no longer resonate with who you are. Sometimes you have to admit defeat, right? Sometimes we find ourselves in professions, in relationships, in places in life that were never meant for us. Right? It was never meant for us. Maybe it was spoken over you. Maybe you wanted to be an artist and people told you that you were going to be a financial analyst, right? And every day people told you how great and analytical you were, and you fall into that because that was the expectation of people, right? But what if that was never who you were, right? What if that was never a part of what you wanted for yourself? Everything is a stepping stone to get you closer to your purpose, y'all. And when you realize that the jobs, the relationships, whatever it is, y'all, they are all stepping stones to get you closer to what's in here. Right? And what's in here is your soul's purpose, your destiny, and what you were really put on this earth to do. You can be a great CPA. You can be a great financial analyst. You can be a great business owner. You can be all of that. But is that really fulfilling the purpose inside? At some point, you will feel a void, right? When it's time to pivot, and you will stay in that job, in that career, in that void, y'all, for fear. Many people are afraid of change, afraid of taking action towards those things that you really desire for yourself. But this is your life to live, y'all, and you only get one. You don't get to come back for a redo. So what is it that you're doing for yourself today, right? In my notes I wrote, right, what people are lacking is a true sense of self. Right? I put, and that's why so many people struggle in career, in relationships, and friendships, y'all. Most people don't have a true sense of self, so you surround yourself with people who may even feel like you are like, only to find that you are not. Right? You hang with professionals, you go out with your colleagues, you do all of this as almost like a trying to find your place in the corporate world. But you don't have to find your place in anything, y'all. Your place finds you. And when you understand all you have to do is align yourself with your purpose, your job will find you, your soul group will find you. Everything that is meant for you will find you when you align yourself with it. But by staying in a job, staying in a career, being around people who you no longer resonate with or you never resonated with, right? How has that been beneficial to your career? Maybe it's been beneficial to your career. Has it been beneficial to your mental health? Right? So what we have to understand, y'all, a lot of times we'll surround ourselves with people, places, and things because it gives us that feel good, right? Because according to society, you're doing well. According to society, you have a booming business. You have a great career, CEO, C-suite, all of this, right? If those are your true aspirations, then that is beautiful. I encourage everyone to aspire to what it is that is in your heart. But let's be clear. No amount of accolades will fill the void if you're in a profession, in a relationship, or in anything that is not authentic to who you are, right? If I could give anyone advice today, release the self-limiting beliefs that you have to stay stuck in any situation in your life. Take action towards what it is that you want. Communicate clearly, right? In your resume, in your bio, in your LinkedIn, whatever it is, communicate clearly who you are. So the opportunities that you desire will find you. But you have to do it in authenticity, y'all. Communicate what it is that you want. Your brand, your profile, whatever it is, should be a clear representation of you. And make the decisions. Maybe you need to travel. Maybe it's about going over the seas. Whatever it is, y'all, make the decision that you want to pursue your passion. Wherever your passion lies, there lies your purpose. And if you're doing everything every day for everyone else and not fulfilling your true purpose, then you will go home every day, y'all, unfulfilled. You will wake up every day and pull into the parking lot of that job and hate every ounce of it because you're not truly fulfilling the purpose within. And that is why you sit in the void. And a lot of times people will work They will be in relationships and the void is there because you're not doing what it is that your purpose truly, or what your heart, y'all, truly desires. And your heart desires what is within to come out. And your purpose is within. And sometimes, y'all, whatever your profession is your profession until the point where it's not anymore, y'all. And that's fine. Be okay with it. Girl, I'm great with it, right? The Lady CPA is the Lady Collective. Why? Because I'm not pushing that anymore, because that's not who I am, right? And your vision, your brand aligns with you. Am I a certified public accountant? Yes. Does that define who I am? Not at all, right? I am nothing like what the world would think. But I understand who I am, and I understood why I needed to be in the profession at the time and being active at the time. Now, your girl is walking in her purpose, y'all. I don't have time for that, right? My vision is to encourage y'all to do the same, whatever that is. So every day, y'all, or I'm going to say every day, right? But I want to be more intentional, y'all, about bringing you more inspirational messages about your purpose, your passion, and your profession to make sure that they all collaborate. You should not be fragmented. You should not have to show up one way at your job, show up another way with your friends, go home and now you're another way. This is about alignment, y'all. This is the year of alignment, and you can no longer be fragmented. So are you ready, y'all, today to align with who you are? No more procrastinating, making decisions that benefit you on the soul level, having a sudden awareness that you can be happy in whatever it is that you do, as long as you understand that everything is fine. Walk away from things that no longer serve you. Walk away from financial burdens. Sometimes we take on certain professions and jobs because of financial burdens. Don't do things out of need or lack, right? Do things out of the abundance of your heart. And guess what? Everything will align with what's in your heart. All right, y'all, that is today's present value. A true sense of self, y'all, starts within. Are there two versions of you? Are you showing up authentically in everything that you do? All right, y'all. Everything you need to know about the Lady Collective is in the description box. I do life coaching, y'all. It's the 6-figure CPA coach. And I'm actually going to add the coaching to the Lady Collective's website as well. I've been in the profession I've owned my firm, y'all, 19 years. I've been in the profession 24. I'm still in the profession, right? But I've scaled my company so that it runs itself, so that I can come and motivate you guys and inspire you guys to scale your businesses, scale whatever it is that you need to do so that you can fully walk in your purpose. All right, guys, love and light. As always, y'all, I am the Lady CPA.